I was on the phone with a friend, and the conversation started where I said, well, there's a difference between eating meat, consuming animal products, and then on the side, promoting that on social media. There's a big difference. You can do something in the privacy of your own home, or you can say to the world, hey, look, I'm doing this, and it's great, and you should do it too. There's a huge difference. So we were talking about that, about the fact that for vegans, we're constantly in the world seeing images of animals being killed, whether it's on TV, it's on our feed, it's in our family, with friends. It's just constantly around us. There's no way to literally escape it. And it can make you feel when you're vegan like you're in hell constantly, because you believe firmly that we should not kill, abuse, or rape any living being, whether it's an animal or it's a human. And everybody else around you thinks it's totally fine. So you live in a world where everybody is doing something that you consider horrific, and there's nothing you can do because it's legal. So I was talking about that with my friend, and when I started talking about the cows being raped, she was like, no, but a lot of good farmers, they don't do that. And I was like, no, today, like, there's no way. Like, 99% of cows are being raped. So, because they're like us. They're mammals, like human beings. So they have a cycle of the month, they have their period, and at some point they have to be impregnated when it's the right time, and we can't just have a bowl that's available for 100 cows or 1,000 cows that we need to do. So there's just no way. There's too many that we need to do it. So we just rape them. We put a tube in their butt, and that's the way, not their butt, but their vagina. And so that's how we do it. And as we were talking, she was like, no, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. And I was like, it's like my dearest friend. And I was like, what do you mean you don't want to know? I'm vegan, basically why I am. And you tell me you don't want to know? And I was like, it's as if you were telling me something horrible is happening around you, like someone's being raped, someone's being attacked, someone's being abused in any way. Like we've seen throughout history, human beings have been abused and attacked and raped in so many ways. Still happening today in Ukraine or other countries for war reasons or whatever. It's around us. And she was like, I don't want to know. And I was like, but why don't you want to know? And she said to me, because if I imagined that this is happening all the time around me, I just could not live. And I was like, welcome to my world. I know that horrific things are happening to animals all the time as we speak, as you're watching this video, scrolling, if you made it this far. And it's just what's happening. And nobody's doing anything because people like a good taste in their mouth and they don't want to change their habits. But mostly they don't want to know, because if they did know, they would feel so bad. That's why nobody wanted to know what was happening to Jewish people in Germany. A lot of people denied what was happening because it was too horrific to be like, oh, this is happening and I'm not doing anything about it. I'm letting it happen. I'm participating in it. Nobody wants to know when something horrific happens, because we don't want to believe that this is just there and that we're not doing anything. Of course you don't want to know. Nobody wants to know. I don't want to know. But I do know. And now I have to live every day of my life knowing that all my favorite people, everybody I love so dearly, that I think are the greatest people, that that have raised me, given me all my values, all of that, all of those people, they're doing that. And I keep begging, asking them to stop doing it. And they just won't stop. They're telling me it's their personal choice. They have the right to do it, and it's true. They do. And that I'm annoying. That they don't always want to talk about that. I'm like, okay. Then I'm just gonna shut up. But it's still gonna be in my head every time I'm gonna see you post something on social media that's meat, or eggs, or dairy, or honey. That whenever we're gonna go to a restaurant, when I'm gonna turn TV on, because it's everywhere, there's no way for me to escape. And on top of that, on top of just the images and knowing it happens and my friends are participating in it, and when they tell me it's a private choice, a personal choice, on top of that, I have to live the consequences of that. Because, for example, when we feed cows, we give them antibiotics, and then bacteria become resistant to antibiotics. So when I get sick and I try to take antibiotics, they don't cure my disease because they can't, because we have given them to cows and we've eaten them. So bacteria are like, yeah, I don't care about that. I've seen this a million times and I'm resistant now. I've evolved. Yep. And climate change, because we kill the Amazonian forest, which is the forest, and then we use 70% of all the space that we use for deforestation. So if we move 100% of it, 70% of that is going to go to plants, soy, oftentimes, just to feed animals, not to feed us. So 70% of the plants that we're raising today, more or less, are to feed animals, not humans. So we could feed humans, but we're feeding animals. And then we have climate change happen. Because on top of feeding animals and destroying the planet to feed animals instead of feeding us, on top of that, cows make big farts. And all these big farts, boom, they destroy our atmosphere, and then climate change happens. And on top of that, we destroy the forest, then they make big farts, and then once we kill them or we bring them somewhere, whatever, we have transportation. So we have to transport them, and that's like exhaustion from trucks and cars and all of that. And then we have to, kill them and all of that. So that's also a lot of waste. And then on top of that, we have to give them water. I think 1 kilo of meat is 10,000 liters of water. So all of that we could avoid. And the pain and the rape and the abuse and the killing of the animals. Could avoid all of that. And would still be fine. Would still be happy. I'm vegan. My husband, he loves the taste of meat. So every time we cook, we make our vegan food taste the closest as we can like meat. Because it's not because we're vegan that we don't like the taste of meat. We do. We just choose not to participate in the rape and killing and abuse of animals. That's all we do. But we eat food that tastes like meat. And it's delicious. So I've been upset these past few days because my brain does not understand. And this morning I was just so sad. I started crying on the phone and I was like, I don't get it. You're telling me you don't want to know what's happening, but you do know, because otherwise you let me talk. If you didn't know that it's horrible what's happening to them, you would let me explain it to you, and then after you'd be surprised. But if you want me and you tell me, I don't want to know, I don't want to know, it's because you know that it's horrible what's happening. So I don't get it. People know it's horrible what's happening, and they don't want to know. They want to do as if it was not happening, but that doesn't change the fact that it's happening. It is happening every second of every day. And if you're eating meat, you're participating. And if you're drinking milk, you're participating. I'm sorry that our culture, your parents didn't know better and they raised you like this. So now you have this culture, you have these habits, and you think, well, that's the only way to do it, and you're afraid to change, and you're afraid that people are going to judge you, and you're afraid that you're going to be unhealthy, even though it's totally not true. I'm so sorry. You must be full of fears, and yeah, to be vegan, you have to be brave. You have to go against what you've been taught your whole life. And it's really hard. And the hardest is once you know that it's just happening around you, that animals every second they're being killed, suffocated. When it's fish, they're suffocated, abused, killed, raped. It's just really hard. I was trying to look for the word for grinded, because, you know, the little baby chicken that won't make eggs, so the little male baby chickens, they're grinded. That's just their life. They're born, and 2 seconds later, they're grinded alive. And all the fish that we just boil alive, it's like all of these horrors we've been doing, it's happening just around us all the time. And once you're vegan and you really want to look at it and just be honest with what's happening, that's what you have to live with. And it's scary, because one thing that's even scarier is to think that if human beings are doing this to animals, they're not that far to do that to humans either. It's actually one of the things, if you've watched TV shows about serial killers and all, before they start killing humans or torturing humans, they often try with animals. And if you look at the statistics of people working in slaughterhouses, they have higher domestic violence rates than people who don't work. So oftentimes I say it's not even humane for people to have to kill all day. I don't know how they do it. They have to just numb it. They have to just be like, this is not even alive. This is not an animal. And I'm just boom, 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 killing it. Because they have to do, I don't know, 20, 30, 100 a day. How is that humane for the humans who do that? And then they're covered in blood. And then they have to clean all the blood. And not just the blood, the parts and the everything. The smell it must be, it's just horrific. Not just for the animals, for the humans. And I believe when farmers say, oh, I love my cows and all, I believe them that when their cows and all are, because you can't help it. This is a cute little animal. Of course you love them. But sometimes people love other people and hurt them and abuse them. They think that they love them, but they don't love the proper way. Oftentimes, if you ask people who do child abuse, for example, they say, oh, but I love children. Wrong kind of love. So I believe that farmers say, oh yeah, I love my animals. I deeply believe it, but it's the wrong kind of love. I wouldn't want to be loved like that. It's just been hard. It's just been a really hard couple of days, because me too, sometimes I try not to think about it. Me too, sometimes I'm just, you know what? I'm not gonna think about all this vegan bullshit. I can't today, and I'm gonna try to ignore it. I'm gonna be the best vegan I can. I'm not gonna hurt any animal, but I don't want to think that this is happening around me, because otherwise I just can't live with myself in this world. I feel trapped. I often take the image of someone who is in a supermarket and someone is shooting at me. There is a shooter and I can't escape. It's like happening all around me. People are dying. I know I might be next, because climate change, because deadly viruses like the COVID happen because we do fuck up things with animals, and we, you know. So it's just very scary. And I feel trapped. There's no way for me to escape. There is no other planet where I can just go run and where everything is vegan. Can't. And I understand people who say, oh, but we've done this forever, so we just need to keep doing it. That's just life, right? But think of everything that has happened in the history of humanity. Think of so many things that have happened that were wrong, and that one day we're like, oh, we've been doing this was wrong, and we should stop. Think about it. Think of examples. I'm not going to say, because sometimes people get offended when I take a specific example and they're like, yeah, this is not true. This is not the same. It's not the same because it's not happening to humans. Totally agree. It's happening to animals. But today with our brains, because we're smart, we're humans, we have empathy. We can understand that even if we cannot communicate with them, even if we don't understand their reality, it's different than mine, that doesn't mean that I can use and abuse and rape and kill them. Since when can I use and abuse and rape and kill someone, because it's just different than me? I can't. There's just no way. So I guess that's all I have to say for now. Thank you if you stayed up until now. I just hope that after watching this video, if you stayed, that you're going to be brave enough to say no, to say, you know what, I didn't know better before. My parents didn't know better. My culture didn't know better. It's just been happening up until now. But I have the power to change that. I have the power to be someone else than the person that I've been up until now. Me eating meat doesn't define who I am. I can be something else. And I'm sorry, because if you really realized what that means, you must feel horrible right now, knowing that this is happening around you. I'm really sorry. All I'm trying to do is try to make a change, because I can't live with myself, live in this world, and not try to make it stop. So I have to just try. I still have hope. Thank you for watching.